My name is Onyx Rose, also known as Oya Wunmi, also known as Osun Kemi. And those names were bestowed upon me by my Baba and by Ifa, actually. And one of them means I am the child of Osun, or Osun favors me. The other one is Oya favors me as well. Basically, what that means is my Orisha are Oya and Osun. I do have others as well, um, but that is regarding my. Um, oh my goodness, what is all that? Oh, 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 oh. What? Okay, there we go. I don't know how that music started. I don't know if y'all could hear that, but I definitely heard that. This is really strange. So we're gonna do like a gunshot for that. Gunshot. Yeah, let's turn all this up. Let's try and get something sounding good here. Okay, we got a little bit of there we go. I don't know if I need to turn the music thing up. No, but I do need to turn this up a bit so y'all can hear me. Um, I'm not gonna turn it up really loud. Let's do a little loud. Okay. Yeah, this is me playing with my podcast machine. I'm just on here, just trying to talk. Egg said to get on here and just talk, so I'm gonna talk. Right now I'm gonna talk about the music that I'm listening to. I don't want to. Well, let me go back to Ifa. I am by no means um, a master or anything like that. Um, I have been studying. I have been through certain things. Um, well, let's just jump off of that. If you are interested in Ifa, look it up. It's a southern Nigerian spirituality and cosmology of the entire world and how it shapes your destiny, um, and so on and so forth. Um, so go ahead and take a look at that. It's IFA, and it is of the Yoruba language or Yoruba language, Yoruba. Yeah. So, and the language itself is beautiful. It's poetic, and once you learn how to speak it, it sounds so good. Um, in the beginning, like all languages, it sounds super fast, but once you learn some of the words, you begin to pick up on what's being said. And I think that's great. I hope y'all can hear me on this microphone in use by Google Chrome. I don't like that. Share screen. Let me see if I can find an actual Spotify screen somewhere. Let's see. That's me. There we go. Let's pop into Spotify here. Not Spotify. I'm sorry. Substacky. Substack. Man, Substack. Let's see if I can find myself doing this. I don't know. I usually can't. Onyx Rose 9. Yeah, so it doesn't show me. I don't know exactly how the studio thing works because um, I don't see a live for me. Um, I am not really sure. Oh wait, scheduled live? No, that's for me and the poet Miranda. Um, yeah, that's for me and the poet Miranda on the 25th. Y'all be sure to check that out. That'll be fun. She will be reading some of her poetry. We'll be talking about poetry. We'll be talking about music, other things as well as they come up, which will be fun. Yeah. Um, so I heard a little doo doo. I'm not sure what's going on there. Oh, that's something else. So we'll hit the applause button. Okay. So music. Now let me go back to my music player so I can pull up something that I'm listening to. Oh, So I'm listening to I do listen to a lot of dance music, and by dance music, I don't mean EDM, the stuff that's out today that's really watered down. There is stuff that's out today that's really good and hitting hard. That's so I don't mean that stuff. I mean the watered down stuff. So I like King Brit, and there's a song called Now, featuring Astrid Surianto. Um, and if I pronounce Astrid's last name wrong, I'm sorry. It's Suryanto. And you want to listen to Sharam's mix, Sharam. It's called Now by King Brit, Britt. And you want to listen to the 9 minute 50 seconds minute, the 9 minute 50 second song. So 9 minutes 50 seconds long, and it's amazing. It's a dance song. It really gets you moving. Also I've been listening to a lot of Mac Miller. Jet Fuel, of course, Self Care. What's the use? I've been listening to a lot of Mac Miller, Tech Nine, a lot of Tech Nine, a lot of ASAP Rocky, a lot of Charlie XCX. Not so much Radiohead anymore. Whereas I used to listen to Radiohead all the time. As a matter of fact, for Radiohead's second album, The Bends, I saw them at Masquerade, which is an old venue in Atlanta, Georgia. And I saw them for something like $10. It was cheap, like cheap, cheap. They were not big at the time. The next time we saw them, the tickets were like, I don't know, 75 to 100, maybe $120 each. Shout out to Radiohead for making the big come up. Shout out to Ticketmaster for ripping us all off, which was indeed the case. Oh yeah, Skepta, Fred Again, that Victory Lap song that came out. I don't know when it came out. It came out last year. Yeah, last year. It blew up the charts, everything. That is the music. Let's hear some gunshots. Yeah. So I wish I could play that Victory Lap and y'all could hear it. Let me see. I'll be able to hear it, but I don't think y'all can hear it. Let me see if I can make y'all hear it. Okay, here we go. Okay, hold on. Okay, honestly, I'm gonna turn everything down again. Hold on just a minute. Okay. Honestly, I don't know if y'all could have heard that and but I do like that. That's one of the dance songs last year that kind of caught my imagination. I don't know exactly how that would be categorized. Um, I do like Above and Beyond. We saw them. They're kind of watered down now, but in the beginning they were hitting some pretty hard trance notes. And they were and are responsible for breaking a lot of big name DJs. So you got to give Above and Beyond their props. A new band that just kind of broke out on the scene. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. D Spitz, D Spitz, yeah, DIE, D Spitz, Die Spitz. No, Die Spitz? No, Die. Jeez, I don't remember. Marrowbone, yeah, 2 albums, 3 albums, I think that they've got 2 or 3 albums, and they're both or all amazing. Kneecap, yeah. So Tom Morello of of ah, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell. Rage Against the Machine. Okay, so Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine named and dubbed Kneecap as the next Rage Against the Machine. So Kneecap is an Irish band, or Irish hip hop duo, not duo, trio. I think it's an Irish hip hop trio. It could be a duo, but they've got some really incendiary lyrics. So you should take a listen to them, along with Bob Vylan. Bob Vylan is actually two people, one person named Bob Vylan and the other person named Bob Vylan. So you should check them out. It is also incendiary. And, we do like that, don't we? So let's move on up the list. What we got here? Upchuck. Okay, Upchuck is another one of those bands that's kind of like, Upchuck is kind of like punkish. Yeah, well, punk, grungy punk. I won't say grunge, gr- gritty, just punkish type stuff. I don't know how to describe it. Shit. But I think they're from the A, you know. And actually, one of my friends from Facebook turned me on to them. And it's kind of funny because this person is a therapist, and at the time I was looking for a therapist. I did not know she was a therapist, and me and her were just talking, and I was just describing all my stuff. And just because I talk to everybody, like when someone messages me, I usually will talk to them and see if the conversation goes somewhere. If I feel like it's a scam, I'll back off. But if I feel like someone's going to be asking me for money, if it's something I can do, and I feel like, especially if it's a trans person or a non-binary person, someone in the queer family, or someone who is Black, I tend to work a little bit more if I can. That's not to exclude everybody else, because I do treat everyone else pretty much the same. It's just, my money goes first towards that cause. But so my mind, the way it works is it goes on side quest. That was a side quest. I don't remember what the actual path was. So we're just going to move right along. Uh, the baby. Okay, so hip hop. Hip hop, hip hop, hip hop. I've got a love-hate relationship with hip hop. Um, I love hip hop. I do. And I'll tell you why I love hip hop. The beats, yes, I love the beats. The beats are amazing. But it's the words, not the words, it's the poetry. It's the way the words are put together. It's the construction of the words. It's the imagery that the words bring forth. Regardless, and I hate to say regardless, because this is like saying but, and so it is a fuck. It is a form of a but. So regardless of what they say and how they say it, my appreciation of how they say it is there. So if they're being blatantly transphobic, but they say it in a way that is what I would consider witty, or um, a turn of a phrase, or poetic in any way, like then I would be like, okay, this is a shitty lyric and they're talking about me. So I shouldn't be saying yay to it. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, I understand the craft, the idea of writing. I don't excuse it at all. So let's get that straight. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not excusing that stuff at all. It's not right. But that with that being said, with that being said, that lead in, I love hip hop. Okay. So, all the heavy hitters I love. J. Cole right now is my favorite. But I love Kendrick and I like Drake, the baby, JID, Jitty, Jitty actually, JID, Eminem, Lil Wayne, Missy, um, Jay Z. I can get with Jay Z a little bit, but Outkast, of course, Paul Wall, the whole Houston scene, pretty much, ASAP Rocky, um, the whole ASAP crew, uh, and then the whole other side, like Wu Tang, Run DMC. Like Run DMC came out, when I was younger. Queen Latifah, MC Light, Roxanne Shante, all these older hip hop stars. Cool. Was it? Whoa, Houdini. They're like all the older ones who paved the way for the sound that the creative force that is today, that rules the world. One thing that I post, and I posted quite a bit, is that without Black creativity, this world would be nothing. And that's what you see in Korea, and that's what you see in Japan, with K-pop and J-pop. They stole the playbook from Black America, and put a little spice of their own on it and sold it to millions and millions and millions of people, including white Americans who would not listen to Black kids doing the same thing. Isn't that kind of crazy? Uh, 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 Kind of funny. Not really, but kind of funny. Uh, anyway, I was talking about hip hop, and DaBaby is one of those very problematic, like extremely problematic hip hop rappers, hip hop stars. He's got a great pen. He writes great lyrics, but he is very problematic, and that's a problem. So, I do like when his songs come on. I might listen to them but for the most part, I do skip them. Now he is on a Dreamville song where his little verse is amazing. So his bars, I don't know how many bars he has, but they're amazing. So I listen to that one. The next band, the Beaches. So the Beaches, when they came out, were just a girl band, a girl rock band. And as far as I know, as far as I remember, they were not a lesbian band. They were just a girl rock band. And then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but I guess like, by design, not by design, but just because they discovered, or whomever, like the lead singer or someone in the band discovered that they are gay. They are now what I would think a gay, like a gay rock band, and they sound great. I love them. They've got some nice titties. So we're just going on up. Oh, Gunna. Okay. So I don't like a lot of Gunna's music, but I do like one song, and that's 101, One of One. I do like that song. That's a little addiction. I do like Clip's new album, but I like Clip's first album. I like Nas, Nas, King 3, I think it's called King's 3, King's Speech 3, or King 3. I love that one. Of course, I love the big hits that came out, like Port Antonio and Euphoria, Meet the Grams, Not Like Us. Yeah. Bodies with JID and Offset. I did like Migos. Um, what else? Absol, the whole TD crew. So Absol and such, and now Doechii. Doechii shit is damn good. Like her back catalog is really good too. Love it, and love the fact that she's gay. So hey, what's up? Rep. Part of the family. Yeah. So that's one of my playlists. Now I have a playlist called Onyx Rose One, and that's my playlist that I had on Tidal. Which so I moved from Spotify to Tidal because Spotify is a bitch, and they support ICE. They actively support ICE on their channels, um, and they give a lot of money to Republican members, so on and so forth. They tried to backtrack. I'm not sure what their stance is now. Um, However, I am back on Spotify. I gave Tidal a try, but Tidal is a pain in the ass. The one good thing about Tidal is it is a audiophile's dream. It has got great sound quality, like amazing sound quality, 100% top dog sound quality. Blows Spotify out of the room quality. But it the platform itself was kind of hard to work with for me. I feel like let me move my microphone so I can look more at the camera instead of like I feel like I'm looking down that way. But I feel like it was kind of clunky to work with. I feel like it always shut down on me, even on my phone. Like I thought it was me, but Egg had the same problem, both on her laptop and on her mobile. So, after about 2 months of Tidal, well, 3 months of Tidal, we said bon voyage, and went back to Spotify. What I have done is since they caught me by charging me the day I was trying to cancel, I have, for the rest of the month through like mid to the I think through almost April 20th with I think it's April 19th to continue using well no what is today April so maybe April 14th to continue using Tidal. So what I'm doing is the playlist I curated on Tidal. I'm now moving to Spotify, and I'm using the time that I have left to go ahead and do that. Let's see. Give me just a second, y'all. I want to put on some lippies. I kind of like having lippies on. So, am I still in? Yeah, I'm still in. Okay. So we've got a bag of stuff in here. Everything in here is Rihanna or Ritual de Fille. Ritual de Fille is a small boutique shop in California. Rihanna, Fenty. Of course, Rihanna is Fenty. Fenty being her last name. Give me just a second. We'll get this show on the road. Okay. Thank you for that little lippy break. I am going to show y'all. Oh, I don't know if I like that too much. Hold on. There. Okay. So yeah, this is how do the influencers do it? Some kind of bullshit. Okay. So Onyx Rose 1. Music time. Yay! Gunshot laughter. Yes, we got it going on this little stereo thing. Okay, let's turn up the monitor a bit. Check. Now we got some echo. Let's turn down the echo a bit. Shit. Let's turn that down. Turn that down a bit. I'm just trying to get everything right. Okay, so Onyx Rose 1. The very first thing I see is a whole shitload of Ethel Cain. Um, so the very first 12 songs, and first of all, I should tell you, on this Onyx Rose 1 playlist, there are 496 songs for 39 hours and 33 minutes. The first 12 songs are Ethel Cain. Um, the next song is Eric Clapton, Have You Ever Loved a Woman, live at the Fillmore. So this one is 6 minutes 52 seconds and is absolutely stunning. And then the next one is Gary Clark Jr. So you see like the progression from Eric Clapton, who plays blues, and Gary Clark Jr., who plays blues as well, where he plays When My Train Comes in, pulls in, and When the Sun Goes Down. These are both live versions, as well as the Eric Clapton song. So you really get like a good hit of blues, and the blues are really nice. The next thing, and I love and had the opportunity to see, and it was probably my most I don't want to say religious because it wasn't religious, and I'm not religious, but it was my most spiritual experience at a concert, is Florence and the Machine. Florence is a badass, and I assume, like, I found out she's a gay, like a gay icon. I think she's beautiful. I saw her for How Beautiful, How Big, How Beautiful, How Bad, or whatever that is. Her third album, her third album, and the show was amazing. High energy. The reason why it was so crazy for me is because I was having my Crohn's disease was really bad then, and we were in ADA, so the disability section at the show, and I was able to sit, but my cramps in my legs, and like my whole body was cramping. And as she was singing "Long and Lost," and her voice was just so loud and so beautiful and so strong and then so soft, and just the agony and the ecstasy. It was so much, and I could feel the energy, and it was surrounding me, and it was encroaching on me, and some of it was not good, but a lot of it was. And the not good, was overwhelmed by the good. So, that was an awesome experience. Like I said, that was for um, How Big, How Beautiful, How Something, or something like that. It has Long and Lost, Various Storms and Saints, and Saint Jude on it. Um, you know, so I love that one. And her new album, which I don't know the name of, but it has Everybody Scream, Witch Dance. One of my favorites is Sympathy Magic. Sympathy Magic is on there. Music by Men, I like. Um, the Old Religion, I love. So yeah, I get down with Florence and the Machine. Definitely get down with Florence and the Machine. Um, Next up, Gracie Adams. Now, Gracie Adams is not someone that I listen to a lot. Um, I there as far as I know, she only has one or two albums. She came up with like because Taylor Swift or something like that. I don't know. I don't know anything about her. Like I don't know how I actually got her in my playlist, but I have three songs. Two of the songs I like, one of the songs I don't, and that's just the long and short of that. So Tay Tay, T Swizzy, Taylor Swift. On Onyx Rose's web space, in the metaverse, in the Fediverse, and everywhere else online, Onyx Rose, this Onyx Rose, The only onyx rose that matters, by the way, will not brook any T Swizzle bullshit. T Swizzy is can do no wrong. Okay, so that's a joke. But I do like Taylor Swift. And my theory is that Taylor Swift does really well when she sings with guys, as opposed to when she sings with girls. Or female identified voices, and male identified voices. Um, and That being said, I like her work with the National, or at least the brothers Dresner of the National, who have worked with Taylor Swift quite a bit on Folklore, Evermore, and then Taylor Swift returned the favor by working on some of their songs. Um, but my favorite song by Taylor Swift and the National right now, and like I say right now because my favorite songs change so much. So when people say, "Oh yeah, give me your favorite song," I'm like, "Okay, like you mean for the first these next 5 minutes? Because I can do that, but I can't give you more like a favorite song for like the day. I can't give you a favorite song for like the last 6 hours. Like I can give you songs, but I cannot give you favorite songs. So I can't give you one favorite song, I should say. I can give you several favorite songs. But this is one of my favorite songs of the last, I would say, 8 months, 6 to 8 months. And that is the Alcott by the National and Taylor Swift. I definitely love the way Taylor comes in when they start the I don't know what it's called. Uh, yeah, that part. I'll just have to listen to it. I wish I could play music for y'all. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that. So that way we can actually have a little music session, at least playing. And then so the alchemy. I really do love the the Poets album. What is it? The Poet Society, the anthology one, the one that's big, the one that has the most songs, the one that has the alchemy on it. I love the alchemy and I love that album. I listen to that album all the time. And Folklore is my favorite album, but I think actually this Poets album is becoming my favorite. And so let me back up on the T Swizzle. I did not listen to her during her country phase. I don't know anything about that. Zero. Except for that 10-minute song about John Mayer. I think it's about John Mayer. Or no, it's about Jake Gyllenhaal, All of Me, or I can't remember the name of it. I think it's about Jake Gyllenhaal. Um, but since like I started listening to Taylor Swift with 1989, her first poppy pop album that broke away from her country sound. And then all I know is that Folklore came out and blew my mind because it was a more mature Taylor and it was a less pop. It was still pop, but it was more lush and more grown up. And then Evermore proved to be the same. And then, came the heartbreak. I don't know what came, actually, I don't know what came next. All I know is that Taylor did a bunch of reworks of her other albums because she didn't own the rights, and then she got the rights back, and all of this happened. I don't know, but then the Poets album came out, and that album I like. Now there's a new album out, and I don't remember the name of it. It's like something about a showgirl. I've heard some of the songs, I've listened to it, but I haven't really listened to it all that much. So I'm not sure exactly what it sounds like, or if I like it. Now, the next, oh, Janae Aiko, Speak, Lightning and Thunder, and I Am Not Afraid creation mantra. The I Am Not Afraid creation mantra is 15 minutes, 15 seconds, 1515. Break that shit down, okay? Um, and it's I love it. I love it. I use it all the time for for meditative sessions. I use it all the time just to chill out. Um, I love it, and I love her voice. You know, I really do. She's got a beautiful voice. She's got some beautiful albums out. Um, yeah. So uh, next on the list, we have Trey Anastasio. And if you don't know who Trey Trey is the lead singer and the lead guitarist for the band Fish. Fish is a jam band in the same way or in the same vein as the Grateful Dead. Um, Fish played with the Grateful Dead after Jerry passed. I don't know if they played with Jerry. Trey did. Um, but you know, Fish started in the 80s. I saw them in the 90s. I am, by the way, okay, so I am a fan. That's a PHAN. I'm a fan. Uh, I've been a fan since the late 80s, maybe early 90s. I saw my first show in 1995. I saw my last show in 2015. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, they tour just like the Dead. They tour. Now they took a break because Trey had a drug addiction. He successfully beat that drug addiction. Successfully, because that almost tore the band up. He almost lost his life. He almost lost everything. Now he goes to AAA meetings wherever, whatever state or city they're in. Um, he built a rehabilitation center. You know, he's really giving back, you know, in thanks that people saved his life, you know, and understood, you know, because you got to understand that addiction is at its root a calling for something else. There's a mental illness or some type of pain that is associated with mental illness or something underlying it that needs to be addressed. It is not, people don't, you know, people do not I don't know. To me, people do not willingly just get themselves addicted to drugs. You know, whether you want to try it and then you get addicted, that does not mean you willingly wanted to get addicted. It means you wanted to try it. Now, the addiction and like not being able to stop, it then is rooted in something deeper. But yeah, I went off path there because, and the reason why I'm saying all of this is because I am an addict. I used for a lot of years. I used every single drug you can think of. Um, I was sent to rehab by my wonderful Aggie Sack, who basically laid down the law and said, if you don't go to rehab, you are gone. And I was like, all right, bitch, I'm good. So I went to rehab and have not touched anything except for weed since um, December. No, anyway, somewhere in 2012. So it's been a long time. Now, that's not to say that if somebody put a plate of uh, yay in my face, that I wouldn't do any of it because I probably would. Once an addict, always an addict. You know, you can say no, but after a while of it being offered to you, it's just going to be like, what's one little line going to do, you know? Okay, so we're gonna get off that. Anyway, so Trey Anastasio is the lead singer and guitar player of Fish. Once you hear his guitar, you automatically know it whenever you hear it. Let me put it to you like that. It is a beautiful sound, a wonderful sound. You know, and so but he also has a side band other than Fish, as all the members do. But his side band is Tab, the Trey Anastasio band. And they play some, like, I don't know how many live sessions they have. I know they had something that I saw on Twitch that was really good, that was live, like some years ago during the pandemic. And Trey also played like a session of lives during the pandemic too by himself, stripped, and it was those were amazing. But this live album has Sand, Set Your Soul Free, About to Run, Ether Sunday, First Tube, and I like all those songs, and they sound great live. I like Tab, but the Trey Anastasio band. I just wish they would have put out more lives. I understand that uh, there was one of the members died, and of course that has an effect on the group. But I'd like them to put out. Well, I guess they have another live album because I'm looking at it right here. Tab for the Fox Theater, tab at the Fox Theater, and Burn It Down. Okay. So now the other band, and I have a friend who was surprised when I said this, or when they heard me say this, but Placebo, and I don't know if people have listened to Placebo much anymore, but I certainly do. Yeah, Placebo, Running Up That Hill. Now, so Running Up That Hill, Placebo covered that really well. I think that's the best cover of it you will hear. I don't know about any of the other covers, they suck. But Running Up That Hill, Kate Bush, Placebo did it great justice. With You, I'm Nothing, My Sweet Prince. Okay, so My Sweet Prince holds a big place in my heart. I love that song. Um, of course, Special Needs is good. I've got some other Every You, Every Me. Yeah. Oh God, I can't remember anymore, but I've got more. Daughter, Youth. Let's see what else is in here. The National. I've got a lot of national songs in here, and to so the National. Me and Egg have seen the National twice. The first time we saw the National was in Nashville. No, not Nashville, Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it was not good. I don't know if it was just like where we were sitting or the technology was messing up, or the lead singer was just drunk because he does drink a lot. Um, is what I hear. I don't know. Like I don't know this guy. So, um, but one time on Egg's birthday, as a matter of fact. So the National is her like sometimes favorite band. It's between the National and Radiohead. And so on her birthday, the National just happened to be in the so we had tickets. Uh, it turned out to be a beautiful day. It was not hot. It was like in the 60s, in the 60s or 70s. The sun came out, and they came on and they were amazing. Like the lead singer was amazing. The drummer, the one thing I remember is the drummer. The drummer was absolutely amazing, you know. So yeah, we love that. So what's going down next? J. Cole. J. Cole. So here we go. So this is where I want to get back to hip hop. J. Cole, of course, is a wordsmith and a poet. And this is what I appreciate. He's a poet. Now he said some things that hip hop things. Of course, lived experience, maybe, you know, um, understanding the experience of other people, certainly, um, capturing the cultural zeitgeist, yes. Um, like multiple albums that went platinum without features, amazing. Um, dropped a double album, The Fall Off, dropped a mixtape. Uh, the Fall Off has some amazing songs on it. Of course, let's see, 2-6, Bombs in the Ville, Who the Fuck Is You? That's probably my favorite song right now, except for Quick Stop. I think Quick Stop and Who the Fuck Is You is are my two of my favorites. But I like I also like and The Whole World is the Ville. I like that. But I, I like a lot of the Dreamville stuff. We'll probably come upon that in just a minute, I think. But I like Port Antonio. Of course, I like No Role Models and GOMD, and Wet Dreams and Clouds. Yeah, that's so Clouds is good. Clouds has kind of gotten lost in the mix for me because I listened when Clouds came out, I listened to it continuously. It was my top song. But it kind of got lost in the sauce. It is good. It's really good. Port Antonio is really good. Was it one person shooter or whatever that with J. Cole and Drake. I love that song. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, Ruby Rosary featuring J. Cole. J. Cole has some great features, and so that's an ASAP Rocky song with J. Cole, and that's great. Um, let's see the Might Delete Later album. I don't know if it was a mixtape or if it was an album. I think it was a mixtape that had that 7-minute drill on it that he took off. That's still on YouTube. If y'all want to hear fucking fire, y'all need to go to YouTube, look up J. Cole, and look up 7-minute drill. I think that's what it's called. And it is because he took it off the album, um, at least on streaming. So you won't be able to find it on streaming anywhere. You will have to go to YouTube to find it, but it is good. And that whole album is fire. Central C, I should mention, Central C is amazing on this album, and all of his back albums and all of his back songs are pretty good. I don't know if he's making music anymore or if he went religious and decided to stop making music. That I'm not sure of. Let's see. Let me just work with the volume stuff here. I don't know what's going on. Let me get the greeting going again. L B C C. Okay. So anyway, oh snap! Come back, microphone. Come back, microphone. Okay. So here we go. And J. Cole in one of his songs said that if hip hop was back, JID would go platinum, and that's 100% correct. The first time I heard JID Jitty, my mouth just about hit the floor. My jaw hit the floor. I was like, "Who is this new person?" Because this person's going to be a star. This person is the next real deal Holyfield, and it's coming true. The I'm trying to find the song. Oh, and Earth Gang. So Earth Gang didn't get super big. I'm hoping that they're regionally known, but and they're signed to Dreamville as well. They're from the A. They're from Atlanta, and they are great. I love Earth Gang. I'd like them to have a resurgence, get big with 2 Chains. Of course, love 2 Chains, Titty Boy. Um, let's see. Then we chop into okay. Then we got a lot of Taylor Swift, a lot of Taylor Swift, a lot of Taylor Swift, and then we get to Lord, and Lord's new album Virgin. I think is amazing. So I discovered my poppy side recently. I have never been a pop like music listener. I've always listened to indie music, dance music, punk music, goth music, hip hop, um, classical, but never really popular music like radio music or anything like that. Lord is, I think, in that poppy category, but maybe she's not. I'm not sure. But I do like the new album she has. It's called Virgin. And I like Man of the Year. I love the lyrics of Man of the Year, Shapeshifter, Clear Blue. I love What Was That and Hammer. I love the whole album. Like when I first heard it, I let it go and I let it play forever and ever. It was just on a loop. And since I'm talking about loops, when the Maria's Back to Me came out, like the very first time I heard it, I knew it was going to be huge. And I listened to it. No shit, you can ask Egg. Egg was sick of it by the time I stopped listening to it because I listened to it honestly for like 5, 6 days straight. Like I just put it on loop and just played it. That was it. That was it. And it would just loop and loop and loop. And I would think and write and loop and write and loop. That's how it goes. So yeah, inspiration. Um, Slave to the Traffic Light. If you don't know that song, go ahead and look it up. That's my favorite Fish song. There are multiple versions because they have multiple live albums. Like when I say multiple live albums, I'm talking like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 live albums. You just have to go find them. You can go to livefish.com and download a lot of albums. They started playing in the 80s. They started recording in the 80s. So, and then they started recording every show. And so every show is, I don't know if it's available, but they've recorded every show. Um, so, Slave to the Traffic Light, great song. The next is a jam band as well, the original jam band. Well, Grateful Dead, yes, but not Grateful Dead. The Jerry Garcia Band. Yes, I love Jerry Garcia, and I like Grateful Dead, but like a meme said, Grateful Dead is like folk music on acid or country music on acid or some shit like that. But the Jerry Garcia Band, they have some jams. Jerry is another one of those people. Like when you hear his guitar, you will always know it's his guitar. And the Jerry Garcia Band is one of my favorites. Always has been. Not necessarily the Grateful Dead, but the Grateful Dead does hold a place for me. But Jerry Garcia Band is where it hits me. I like the Defected series. I don't know if you know the Defected music series. It's a series of house shows that happened in Britain somewhere. I think it's probably still going on. I know for a while Sam Divine hosted it. And they have some songs that really kick and really hit. If you like house like I do, so my favorite genre of house is deep house. As a matter of fact, I met Eggy Salad at a deep house show in a long time ago, where she didn't give me the time of day, but I saw my first trans person who at that time or at back then was called a transsexual and not a transgender person. When I started my transition or when I started looking at the possibility of transition and started understanding what transition would look like and understanding what who trans people are, and how that relates to me. I I was using the term transsexual because to me that meant someone who was undergoing medical transition in order to align their brain or their mind with their body. And as such, I considered myself a transsexual. Now, I understand that nowadays that term and that terminology is outdated. So, that's fine. I won't use it. I don't have a problem with that. But it still seems like I, so medicalism aside, I'm not saying that in order for you to be a trans person, you have to be you have to get medical help. You don't have to take HRT. You do not need any surgeries to be trans. That is not necessary. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying for me, back then in 2006, 2007, 2008, when I was poking around and looking at things, the term was transsexual. Um, yeah. But yeah, so at at the club where I met Egg that night, that was also there was a deep house DJ by the name of Miguel Miggs and a companion by the name of Lisa Shaw, and they were fucking throwing down. Um, and I met Egg, and Egg, of course, wouldn't give me the time of day. She was off dancing with her friends, and so I remember sitting on the couch doing things I probably shouldn't be doing, hanging out with friends. rolling my balls off, and then turned around to the left and saw the most beautiful trans woman I have ever seen, like ever. Beautiful chocolate skin, beautiful, not a flaw, perfect seated, just everything elegant, 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 elegant. Man, and I was like, okay, so that can be something that I can do. But of course, medication made me gain weight and shit like that, and that's okay. I my own standards. I'll get to my standards eventually, and if I don't, that's fine too. Or and I shouldn't say it's my standards. I should say my goals, my root goals. Yeah. So on to the next music. Okay, so Oshun, Oshun, Oshun. So if you haven't heard Oshun, go ahead and listen to them. Their most popular song is called "Blessings on Blessings." Um, they, of course, by very nature of the name Oshun, do speak a lot about the uh, Orisha Oshun. That is the Orisha of sweet waters, which is basically rivers, honey, fertility, divine femininity. Um, but she's also strength and strong. She represents wealth and purity. Um, let's see, sexuality, love, prosperity. It's kind of funny because I have this up on my screen right here, and now I'm looking at it. She's the patron of the Osun River, and she is the uh, she has the grove. The sacred grove for her is called was it the Osun Osogbo Sacred Grove in Osogbo, Osun State, Nigeria. um, and um, it is. I think it's a World Heritage Site. Yeah, it's a World Heritage Site. It's been around for a long time. And let me tell you, so really quickly, the history of Ifa and the cosmology, the spirituality, the religion, however you want to say it, has been around for thousands and thousands of years. You can look online and you're not going to find shit, and that's just how it is. You may find some stuff, but you're not going to find anything that you need to understand. You see, because it's something that's been passed down through the generations orally. It's a storyteller. It is not a storyteller, but it's like a griot. You pass this information down. You have people train. You have people initiate, and you have that is how you are in this spirituality, this cosmology. Oshun, I think one of the members, there were two members. I think one of the members is an initiate. I don't know about the other, but anyway, they have their song "Blessings on Blessings" was pretty popular. They also have a song called "Tex," which is popular. I think they had two albums, and they're both really good. They're both really good, especially if you like Orisha praise. Great albums. Love them. So then after that, we got some Trout Quintet. We've got Trout Quintet, and so Demon Variations on Trout Quintet, and then Andante Trout Quintet, and then Station Lapsley. So then we roll into, oh yes, then we roll into Anoni. Is that how you say their name or her name? It's Anoni, Anohni, Anani, unknown he, unknown, Anoni, Anoni. I don't know how to say her name, but she is trans. Um, the band is called Anthony and the Johnsons. And they have, of course, if you've heard of them, they had a song out with Boy George, "You Are My Sister, You Are My Sister, You Were Born," that kind. But they're amazing. the whole like all of their whole body of work is beautiful. It's amazing. Love it. Love the album live. No, love the album turning, but it's live, and it's a beautiful live album. Um, and so yeah, Anoni has done a lot of live work on her own and collaborations. So she's done she actually has an album out with I think it's her latest album that has the cover of Marsha P. Johnson on it, or the picture of Marsha P. Johnson on it. Um, yeah, yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, it must change. Yeah, it must change. Uh, so Rapture, Anoni, boom bap, boom bap, Stankapoo. You know what I'm saying? Nissan Altima. I'm naming Doechii songs: Pacer, Timeless, Universal Swamp Anthem. And then we get into okay, so there's some people, especially nowadays, who may not know this song. And that's too bad. It's a shame. I think we are going to get a boo for that. Okay, so yeah, Boo. If you haven't heard of Funkadelic, that's a problem. But if you have heard of Funkadelic, that's great. Now, if you haven't heard the song Maggot Brain, that is a problem. And I suggest you run, not walk, run to your nearest headphones, smoke a joint, whatever you want to do, blunt, bowl, bong, anything like that. Put your headphones on. And for the next 10 minutes, 19 seconds, just listen to some Bliss. And let me tell you, it is Bliss. For 10 minutes and 19 seconds, this man played one take. No double takes. No, let me start over. None of that. And to make it even better, he did it while tripping balls. This song is crazy. It's amazing. Like it's beautiful. It is actually a beautiful song. It's not like something that's gonna be all scary. You're gonna be like, ah. No, it's like it's beautiful. Okay. So, let's keep on going. We're going down. We got some Mac Miller, Charlie Curtis band. Now, Charlie Curtis Beard. I have not heard of this. One of my friends turned me on to this person, and I like their music. Of course, next we've got Kendrick Lamar, Luther with SZA, Love with Zakari, um, Meet the Grahams, Collard Greens with Schoolboy Q, Family Ties with Baby Keem, Heart Part 6, a lot of Kendrick Lamar. And then up next is Denzel Curry. And I didn't know a lot about Denzel Curry until I heard that song that he had with Robert Glasper that's called Melt Session 1. And that's a pretty cool song. And I also heard another song that was more like a rock song. I don't know, more like a hard rock typey song. Not hard rock, but more uh, it, kind of a hip hop type rock vibe. And that was good. Not like an Aesop Rocky type, which I thought sucked, um, but more a lot better. First person shooter, of course. There it is. Bang bang. And so y'all need to correct me if anybody can hear this or if anybody can see this. I don't know. I'm just talking on here. But Drake's second album, um, Take Care. I don't know if that's his second or his third album, but whatever. The album Take Care. Did he actually write any of that, or did The Weeknd write that? Because I've heard separate stories on that. I'd like to get that cleared up. Um, and then we come to dun 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 classical time, cello sonata, number 1 in E minor, Johannes Brahms. So yeah, later, for later, Cello Sonata number 2, Cello Sonata number 2, Nocturnes by Frédéric Chopin. And then we come to so I have all this classical music in one little section, and then comes Indigo Girls. And it's not an Indigo Girls song that I think any of you would think of. It is called True Romantic. Um, and it's on one of the later albums. It's not on one of the earlier albums. I actually stopped listening to their later albums, which, so when I found this song, I was kind of blown away. I was like, "Yes, these are my gals, my girls," you know what I'm saying? Because, like, when Closer to Fine came out, or no, when Strange Fires came out, I was like, "Yes, yes, yes," because they live locally, or they did at the time. I guess they still do. But at the time, they lived locally too, you know, right when Strange Fires and their next album with Closer to Fine was coming out. Um, you know, they lived in the Decatur area. So of course, I've got a host of 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 Indigo Girls, you know, Power of Two, Least Complicated, Secure Yourself, Prince of Darkness, Kid Fears, Love's Recovery, Galileo, Joking, Ghost. You know, I'm surprised I don't have Romeo and Juliet on here. I do like their cover of that song. Um, you know, but so I have a Camel Fat song on here, and if you don't know Camel Fat, they had one of the biggest dance songs of the year. I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago. It's called Cola, and it shut down every club. I mean, it was sweet. It's a nice song. So that and Jada G is another great DJ that I like. Louis Vega, another great DJ, Louis Vega. So Louis Vega, Jada G, they play house type music. You know, Jada G sometimes spends some disco, which I don't get into as much. But Louis Vega spins house, like some straight up house. Dreamville, Dreamville, I like a lot. So Dreamville, when like you have Dreamville, J Cole, JID, Jid, Cause, Earth Gang, Sminio, um, you know, all these. Oh, here's the one with the baby. It's called Under the Sun, with J. Cole, Lute, and the baby. So that is the song that if you want to listen to, that is a great verse by both J. Cole and the baby. But of course, it's the baby. So you know what can you say? Um, you know, I've got all this Gunna stuff on here. I've got yeah, so we're just rolling down. Of course, Animals with Eminem and JID, you know, that popped out and everybody went fucking ape shit as they should have. That was a great song. And then Fuel, of course, which is I think which was before Animals. Fuel was great. Godzilla using Juice World's music, Houdini, yeah, Toby, which with Big Sean and Babytron. Now I've become a big Sean fan. So I you know I like a lot of his music. I do. I like the whole Detroit sound. Um, Keeping on with the music. It's 109 in time, so we'll just keep on talking for a little while. That's fine. So next up on Onyx Rose One playlist is Billie Eilish. Yeah, Billie Eilish, you know, she's cool. Like, I don't, you know, like she's cool. But I have Lunch, The Greatest, Bittersweet, Happier Than Ever, and Your Power on here. And I like all of those songs. You know, the one thing that people say about Billie Eilish is she sings like really hushed, like hushed, hushed. And, you know, it's not really anything spectacular, but when she lets it out, she can, you know, she can let it out. I do like the way she sings. I don't understand why people give her such a hard time. So yeah, the Marias, Back to Me, Nobody Knew, Sienna, Heavy. Basically, a lot of Maria's songs are just delights and really great songs. And you can, okay, I shouldn't say you, but I can pretty much tell a Maria's song by the very first word that the singer sings, because her voice is that distinctive for me. Um, Also with something like London Grammar, London Grammar's big song was "Hey Now, Hey Now." My voice sucks, so, but it was "Hey Now." That came out, let's see, oh snap, I don't know when that came out, but the album was called "If You Wait," um, and it's a good groove, album. Oh god, what else do I have in here? I've got something, oh, I've got another Billie Eilish song, "I Wish You Were Gay." Now, of course, I have that song, because it's Billie Eilish, and it's because it's "I Wish You Were Gay," because, I like gay girls. I like gay boys. I like all boys and all girls and all people in between. I like everybody. And would date everybody. So let's jump into that really quickly, because me and Eggy we were talking yesterday about interracial relationships and interracial marriage, and then I believe somebody in the comments, I think it was Kimmy Wen, who asked if am I monogamous, and the answer is yes, I am monogamous for Egg, and that's it. That's the long and short of it. If there was really somebody who was in the picture, if there was really somebody who I thought I would want to build a relationship with, and that does not necessarily and at all mean sex. That could be a queer platonic friend who is just closer. Um, or like a snuggle partner or someone like that. I would have to talk to Egg and see what she would say, because I myself am one of those people who believes that I can love people. I don't have to give all of my love to one person. It's not that way and never has been for me. I have never believed that there is one person in the world for you forever. You know, that just doesn't seem logical to me. What seems logical is that you can find attributes in other people that make you appreciate them as you appreciate others. And so that translates into love. Then yeah, you can love one person like you can love another, and they can be for very different reasons, but you still have love, and you can still all live together, with understanding. Now, of course, there's always the issue of jealousy. That's going to be a big thing. I would think that if I was like, okay, let's do this, and Egg's like, okay, let's do this, and then Egg gets, like boyfriend or girlfriend or like a trans partner or something like that, and she's just having a great time, and I'm over here like, wait, what am I doing? That's where the jealousy comes in, and I understand that, but that's something I'm willing to work with. I have that understanding. Egg is not like that, and so I respect that. For all intents and purposes, I am monogamous until somebody comes around. I'm not gonna say who. So let's continue with the music, shall we? I've got a bunch of fish here, and it's all live. So we're gonna skip all of that because it's like live Jerry Garcia band, live fish, live Jerry Garcia band, and then we've got some Orikis. Orikis are, I may not even be saying it right. Oriki, are praise songs and praise chants for Orishas. Um, the ones I have in here are for Oya and for Oshun or Osun. Um, of course, as they have my head. Um, I do have one for Urunmila. Um, I've got the JID Little Yachty song, "Know Better, Knew Better," which I love a lot. Um, so I've got some Pachelbel, some more Brahms, some Saint-Saëns, and then I've got Dashboard Confessional and Kreisler and Rachmaninoff. Uh, the list just goes on. I've got some Cure and Kings of Tomorrow, Cure for Paranoia. Um, what else? Dreamville, Bodies, Kings of Tomorrow. That's Dance. Mac Miller. Yeah, I got a lot of Mac Miller in here. Loyalty is Timeless. Now, this is something I've heard of. No, I mean that I've never heard of. I just stumbled upon. I guess they're a hip hop duo or band or a group. I don't know, but they're really good. And then the last song I want to mention is Dochi's Spooky Coochie. I think y'all should give that one a listen. Spooky Coochie. Dochi. Spooky Coochie, bitch. All right, y'all. So it's at 1:16:35. I am going to call this because it is 4:01. You know what that means. International smoking time is coming up. So I'm going to go use the bathroom, talk to Egg, get something to drink, and get prepared. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. If anybody listened, I'm going to go ahead and end this video and stop with a smile. Peace and chicken grease.